Hello, so I'm at my allotment and I'm just going to do a quick audit of what's up here because I've not been able to get up here during the lockdown, well, except for a few very rare occasions where various things happened, which I'll talk about in another video. But I've not been able to do any cultivations at all up here. So I just want to see what's up here, what has survived, and what plants have got potential for the future, what kind of value you might place on those plants. So this is my apple tree. You can see there's plenty of apples on it. It's more than 5 years old now, this tree. It's on a semi-dwarfing rootstock, so it does have a tendency to fall over slightly. Got some rhubarb underneath it there. You can see that's managed to keep the weeds off it because the leaves are so big, and it's I had sort of tended to it before the lockdown came in, so that's doing okay. So you can see there's loads of apples up there. So I mean, if you were to buy rhubarb in a pot, probably wouldn't cost much, a few pounds, but that one's been there for about 5 years, so it's got really good now. But these apple trees here, I mean, if you were to buy an apple tree in a pot that was a few years old, maybe say 3 years old, and it had been trained, you'd be looking at like 25 quid for like a named variety of apple. These are all unusual Exeter varieties of apple. So there's one here. Well, I won't say what the varieties are, I do know. Down here I've got a plant called Viper's Burgloss. So I like to grow like some wildflowers underneath as well as the rhubarb. So you can see that's very good for the insects. And that helps with the pollination earlier in the year, but it's a pretty plant anyway. It has got a few uses. I'm not going to go into that now. But yeah, so there's 4 trees here, 4 apple trees. So if you had to buy new ones from the shop, you know, you're talking more than £100 just there. And if you want to put the rhubarb as well, there's I think there's 5 rhubarb plants down there. Right, so I've got some currants here. These are red currants, but they've not ripened yet, so we're June now. And they're swelling up, and some are going a little bit pink, but they'll go red when they're ripe. Again, that's quite an established, so that, again, that's about 5 years old, that currant. So down here we get to the messy stuff. So this was a parsnip bed at the beginning of the year, and some of the parsnips have come up and what have you, but they've been subsumed by the grasses. So there's one here that's just bolted, you can see. Now the problem is that there have been rats coming in from the chickens and going at the roots. So if we look over here, so there's a chicken hut next door, and so this was a shallot bed here, but the grass has overtaken it and it's now fallen down the grass, and there's rats coming in after the chicken food. You can see where they've excavated a lot of soil here. So I did have like a rose that was trained along here, but it's kind of needs some attention. There's a hole down here. I don't know how clearly you can see that. There's a lot of grass seed fallen. But yeah, so there's rats coming in. And this is another apple tree here. So you can see where the rats have been down here. down there. So it's not really safe to collect salads and things that have survived just at the moment, because like getting rat's urine on things is really bad. You can get some quite serious illness from that kind of thing. There's another small apple tree here. See, these are just young apple trees that I've taken off the original ones and just kind of propagated them. Another currant, another red currant that is. There's some gooseberries here. I think this is a variety called Xenia. It's like a purple or red gooseberry. Another apple tree. So yeah, if you were going to buy a gooseberry bush from a garden centre, you know, chances are you get a very small one in a pot for maybe a few pounds. Or like if you've got a bigger one that's in a big pot, you're looking, you know, £10. So this bed here was a salad bed, but you can see there's some nettles come up. It's been overtaken by weeds. But there's a few bits in there like lemon balm and sorrel that have survived. It'll be a lot of work to dig them out. So these black currants here, there's quite a lot here. I think there's 6 plants either side of the path. So I planted them either side of the path so they were easy to harvest. But because I haven't pruned them this year, you can't really see the path. The path is up the middle there. But these were all, the varieties of them were all like Scottish names. So it was like Loch Lomond and, I don't know, I can't remember them all now, but I think there was a Loch Ness in there even. Yeah, but yeah, black currants, there'd be a few quid a piece if you bought them from a garden centre. These ones, again, a few years old now. Very productive. Last year I had a really big bucket of black currants off these. And I think they'll be similarly productive this year. You can see there's lots of fruit on them. So over here I had, I did have onions, and then I've grown comfrey, and it's got, because I haven't been here to chop it down. Normally I chop it down and incorporate it in the compost. Because I haven't been doing that, it's got very tall, and then it's got this white mildew on it, and it's collapsed. But I mean, it's not a problem just to go in there and chop it down and put it in the compost. It will actually help the compost. It's a compost activator. So it's quite a big plant to have, although it looks very messy at the moment. So this was, I've got another video on here with my salad bar. So this had salads in it, and it's sort of slightly protected with this, this structure here. But again, the rats have all been in. If we look down here, you can see the soil has all been excavated. I don't know if you can see down there. It's like a big hole this side of the thistle. So, you know, it's just not safe to eat anything all the time. You've got rats coming in. And this tree here is a plum tree. It's gone quite tall. Now is probably a good time to prune it, actually. So if I get a chance, I might come up and do that. There are 1 or 2 little plums on it. I had a big crop on there last year, but there didn't seem to be very much this year. So these are my strawberry cages. Again, you can see down here, the rats have been in. So the strawberries have done alright and have produced fruit, but the rats have been in, and there's a few big holes. So they can't really be used. Got gooseberries this side. You can see they're starting to ripen. So I had potatoes in the bed the other side of these gooseberries, but it looks like they've not survived. So they probably got overgrown or dried out or something just at the crucial point. More gooseberries there. So in this little section here, I've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, more than a dozen. 2, 4, 6. Probably about 10 fruit bushes here. So again, you're looking at like at least a $5 each. So these strawberry beds were quite substantial and have been productive in the past, but I've got this problem with the rats coming in. You can see here, so something has attempted to dig its way in and got sort of halfway through and then given up. So the back here was a big raspberry bed. Now this does look very messy, and it is pretty messy, but it's still got quite a lot of fruit. You can see, so I'm going to pick some of them in a minute. Over on this side. Yeah, and then I've got an apple tree here, which I was training along the fence line here. You can see all the apples. Lots of apples on that young tree. And I've got some bits. This is just some of the stuff that I used for mulching around. For example, the raspberries or the currants, which I never got around to doing. So yeah, let's just go back down the border here. And look at what we've got. So we've got a gooseberry, nice green gooseberry there, and the second one that's not got so much on it, but it's a sort of purpley gooseberry. This tree here was a cherry, but seems to have died. Another gooseberry. This one's a black currant. You can see some of those black currants. Quite large. Not sure if they're really ripe just yet. Try one. Yeah. Lovely. This is a pink currant, so it's a hybrid of white currant and red currant, and it's a French variety, and it's a bit delicate. It needs quite a lot of work. So you can see some of the sticks have died because I haven't had a chance to look to it. So we were told, I live a short drive away from the allotments. It's not really feasible to walk up here. So I'm just, during the lockdown, it's been a good few weeks that I've just not been able to get up here at all, really. I mean, they told us all to stay at home and not venture out. Not sure how wise that advice was, but that's what we were told. So that's another white currant. Another white currant here. Here's an apple tree. So this is a small apple tree. And I did some grafts on here. So I don't know if you can see, this little stick here has been attached on. And then that's just growing some new leaves. So I've got a few bits like that. Another apple tree, plenty of fruit on it. So I think this one, this one's called Plum Vitae, and it's an early variety. Fruit's very early. Again, you'd be looking at a good 25 quid for a decent one of them. Another tree that I've sort of pruned back quite hard against the boundary. This one here is a cherry tree. It's on Gisela G5 rootstock. So cherry trees can get very large, but this one won't. There's no fruit on it this year. More apples. You can see there's plenty of apples on. The trees that are fruiting are doing really well. And you can see that so I've deliberately grown these trees to a height where, look, I can just grab the apples. There's loads more all here. And the tree does go up a little bit. But even these ones up here, I can just pull the branch down and they're within reach. So that's the whole point. I mean, the weight of the fruit will drag them down a bit as well. So back to the start again. This was the currant I showed you before at the beginning of the video.